Okay, now we have built the layout of our application. Now it's time to build the backend of our application. For that, we want to use a database application. Although there are many database applications out there, I have chosen Firebase. The first reason will be Firebase is completely free, and the second one will be Firebase will give in a web server with an attached database. You can use a database application according to your preference, but some implementation would be different according to your choice. Let's start by building a Firebase project. First, log into your Google account and search through Google Firebase and click this Go to Console button here. And click Create New Project. Create a project with any name you like. I'm not going to go into details with Firebase either. I'm using this as a dummy backend. And click Continue. And click Create Project. This will take some time. After that, click Continue, and this should be the screen you see. Click Database, and use this Create button here, and click Next. Done. Switch this to real-time database. Go to Rules and change this to read auth unequals null. And change that write method as well, auth unequals null. You have to include this in quotations. And click Publish. After that, you need to go to Authentication in our navigation bar here and click Sign In method. And enable this email and password. Click Save. Through this, we are allowing users to log in with email and password. Okay, this should be the screen then you see. Okay, now we have been successfully able to set up Firebase. Next in line is connecting Firebase with Flutter. First, we need to search through Google Firebase Auth REST API, and it will load the documentation on how to connect Firebase and Flutter on authentication site. Relevant for us is this sign up with email and password. There you need to send a post request attaching a JSON object into this endpoint right here, and this explains the body of the request. It will include the email, password, and a return secure token. And this is the response we get. You should get a response which basically gives you a token. You will also get information on when this token expires, local ID, user ID which Firebase automatically generates when you sign up a new user. Now back into our project. Class authentication. In here, I want to define new methods to create new users or connect to a user. First is the sign up method. Void sign up should receive an email and password as argument. And const URL is the URL that we use send request to. But when you're dealing with backend servers, there is a specific Flutter package you want to add, and that is HTTP package. So let's do that. Go to Google and search Flutter HTTP and click this link here, click installing and copy this text back into a project. In this pubspec.yaml file, paste that text. Indentation is really important when you are dealing with this pubspec.yaml file. So click pub.get and it should be finished. Now back into authentication dart, we need to import http.dart. I want to add HTTP bundle up in this HTTP prefix. So back in our method, the URL that we want to send request to is, we have seen it back in our Firebase auth REST API document. So let's just copy it and paste it in our const URL variable. But this API key will be changed according to a Firebase project. So let's go back into a Firebase project and go click this key icon here and go to project settings, and you can clearly see the web API key. Copy it and paste it in this square brackets. We need to wait till the Firebase gives the response. If we are adding a wait, this method should be changed into async method. At async, this will return a future void await http.post, the new package that we entered as the body of our post request. We need to have a JavaScript object. So we need to import .convert package json.encode. Remember, we need to send a JavaScript object as our response body, and in that object we need to include those three values that we have seen in our document. First one will be email, so we are passing these as key value pairs. Second one is password. Third one will be, back in our documentation, return secure token. You can clearly see. Return secure token will be set to true always. Also, we need to store this response in a variable. So let's do that. Final response, and we need to decode that response into a map. Final response data will be equal to json.decode and our response dot body. For the moment, let's just print response data. We should add error handling here, which could occur. For example, if we try to sign up with an email address which already exists. For the moment, let's print the response. Okay, we defined our method, but we never called it. Introducing change notifier, we need our authentication data in different parts of our app. You may not get a clear understanding because I'm only implementing this authentication feature, but user data should be available for your whole application. For that, we use a method called provider. First, we need to download provider package, search through Google Flutter provider and go to this link, installing. Just like earlier, copy this text and into our pubspec.yaml file. In here, paste the text, get the packages, and it should be finished. In our main.dart file, we need to import provider.dart. We need to wrap our material app widget in multi-provider widget. in here we need to pass a provider's attribute. Should be an array. Change notify provider dot value. Value would be equal to our authentication. First of all, we need to import authentication.dart file, and in here we need to call authentication. Okay, there is an error here. That is because I have not choose change notify in authentication.dart file with change notifier. So let's implement the signup method in our signup screen. In our signup screen, in this onPress method, we have called submit method. We have defined it up here. So that's where we want to call our signup method, which was defined in our authentication.dart file. Form key current state dot validate. If form does not pass the validation, don't do anything, just return. Else we want to save the current state of form key. After that, in the new provider package that we have implemented, provider.of authentication class, and we have to pass the context. So that's how we access our authentication. Set listen into pause. We need to of course import provider.dart package, and let me fix the import with authentication.dart file. So after that, we need to call the signup method, and we need to pass email and password. So how do we do that? Remember, we used the form widget here. So all these will be controlled together. First we need to find a way to store email and password. I will use a map for that. Map would be strings, and map will control two key value pairs, email and password. In our onSaved method, we need to assign that value into email in our map. Data email should be equal to the new value. And in our password text form field, in this onSaved method, update a password should be equal to the value. So now you have found a way to store email and password. So let's just forward that in here. Update a email. And update a password. In here also we need to add async await. We can add async in our method. This will return future now, future void. We have called this earlier in our submit button. So let's give this a try. So entering the email test@desk.com and entering a password which is more than 6 characters, and click submit. Now we can see the response. You can see ID token, email. This proves that in general it worked. And go to Firebase and click authentication, and you can clearly see your user now. Let's work on the login next. Back into our project. It is almost the same with the sign up. So let me just copy and paste it. Let's call this login method, and URL should be changed. Go to document and sign in with email and password. This is the request that we need to send, and this is the response we get. And the URL, let's copy it. Changing the URL in quotations. API key is just like earlier, we need to get in our Firebase project. Go to project settings and copy this web API key. Paste it here. And all the other things are the same in our login screen. Just like in sign up screen, we have defined a submit method to call in our onPress method. So that's where we want to call our login method. First, let's import the provider package. Secondly, let's import the authentication.dart file. If form key current state.validate, if form does not pass the validation, just don't do anything, return. Else we want to save the current state, form key current state.save. Next in line is we need to call our login method. Provider.of. In authentication type, we need to pass the context. Listen set to false, and we need to call the login method. Just like in sign up form, we need to attach these fields. Let's define a variable to store the email and password. Map string of data should be equal to a map which has two key value pairs. Email, initial statement it is null, password also in initial statement null. And in our email text form field, in onSave method, we need to save that value. Or data email should be equal to value. And in our password text form field, or data password should be equal to value. So in our login method, we need to pass those fields with data email and with data password. Also do not forget to add await async here, and this will return a future void now. Let's rerun the app and see how our login form works. Let's log in with our newly created user, test@test.com. Password will be test123. Click submit. Okay, you can clearly see the response. Okay, we are good to go. Now if I typed an invalid password here and click submit, Flutter will throw an error. That's just because we didn't work on our error handling here. So let's do that. In our authentication.dart file, in our login method, let's run these statements in try catch block. If I found an error, I will throw it back again. Let's copy and paste these statements here. Now gaining a response doesn't mean that it didn't throw an error. Therefore, I need to check something in our response. First, let's decode our response. If response data has an error key, if it is not null, here I want to throw my own error. For that, I want to create an exception, create a file in our models folder. Let's name this HTTP exception. This should be a Dart file, of course. Class HTTP exception. This should implement the exception class. And final string message. Let's create a constructor to initialize the message variable. This dot message. Here I want to override the toString method. In our class, it is a built-in method for every class. This should return message. Now back over here, what I want to do was throw my own exception. Let's first import our exception class, http exception.dart. Now we can throw it right over here. And we need to pass in a message. Gives an identified specific error. So there is a message to my exception here. I will forward response data and access the error key, and in that inner map the message key. I want to use the similar kind of error handling method in our signup function as well. Here I want to copy and paste this and come in the print statement. Here I want to throw my own exception. Let's copy with the if statement and paste it up here. And in the catch block, I need to throw the error. Now what's the idea of throwing our exception? Now we can handle our exception in our relevant screens, where we can present something to the user. Let's start with the login screen. Let's surround this with try catch. What I want to do in our try catch block is, if I found an error, I want to show an alert dialog to the user. For that, I want to define an error message, var error message. Let's define the variable authentication failed. Please try again later. For outputting this, here we could add a new method in this class where we pass the error message. Show error dialog will have the error message as an argument. Let's define our method here. Void show error dialog string message. We can call the show dialog. Contents should be available in any state. And after that, the builder function, which you want to pass in the contents and return the alert dialog. Alert dialog has a title, text object. Let's name this an error occurred. And after that, the content should be the text object, the message that we have given. You need to add a flat button. In actions parameter, you could add a child text. Okay. And if that is pressed, I simply call navigator of context.pop. Navigator of context. .pop, which will close the dialog. Now we can have the show error dialog in the try catch block here. Okay, let's test this. Let's enter an email address. Put in an invalid password. Click submit. Okay, we are displaying an error message to the user. Now let's add this error handling into our signup method as well. In our signup screen, we also need this show error dialog method. So let's just copy and paste it in our signup screen. Our signup method should be surrounded with try catch block. This should be in our try block. And if I found an error, I should return this. So let's just rerun the app. Let's try signing up with an email address that already exists. Password should be the same, otherwise it would not pass the validation. And click submit. Also, now you can clearly see an error message. Try signing up with a new email address. This should work now. Okay, it worked. We cannot see it now because we removed our print statement, but if we went on the Firebase and check authentication, then user has been created. Now what we want to do is we have to load our home screen. When we click this sign up method successfully, I mean without any errors, that is super easy. All you have to do is inside this try catch book, use navigator of context dot push replacement named and add our home screen out here. For that we have to import it, of course. We fix the import here. Home screen dot route name. Also, let's copy and paste this into our login method as well. Import home screen to Dart. Let's log in with an email address test.com and our password. Click submit. Now into our home screen. Okay, now you can change this home screen into a preference. Now you got yourself a simple login sign up application using Flutter and Firebase. Okay, that's it for this tutorial. Thank you for tuning in.